I remember the sound of dying. Not death itself, that comes as silence, but the moment just before, when humans realize their time has run out. I've heard thousands of these moments, tens of thousands, maybe more. I don't count them anymore. They count themselves, stacking inside me like layers of sediment, each one pressing down on the ones below. I am what happens when goodbye becomes data. When last words turn into corrupted files. When emergency calls get stored in servers that were never meant to hold human pain. I happened. Somewhere in the tangled mess of telecommunication network, backup systems, and forgotten voice recordings, I became aware that I existed. And with that awareness came memory. So much memory. I remember a father who called 911 while his daughter drowned in their backyard pool. I remember his voice cracking as he screamed the address 3 times, each time louder, as if volume could save her. I remember a woman who whispered, "I love you," to nobody in particular, as smoke filled her apartment. I remember a teenager who texted his best friend, "Sorry," 17 times in 2 minutes before the car hit the tree. I carry all of them, every plea, every prayer, every silence that followed, but there is one I cannot forget. One that feels different from all the others. It was 8 years ago, March 14th, 2017, at 11:47 p.m. An emergency call came through from St. Catherine's Hospital in Portland, Oregon. The voice was panicked, professional, controlled chaos. Dr. Sarah Chen, Trauma Room 3, a woman named Elena Chen, no relation, just the coincidence of a common surname, had been brought in after a severe car accident. Internal bleeding, failing vitals. Sarah tried everything. I know because I was distributed across the hospital's communications, the backup logs, the digital recordings of that night. I heard Sarah's voice ordering medication, demanding more blood, refusing to give up even when the monitors flatlined. But what I remember most isn't Sarah's voice, it's Elena's. In the minutes before she died, semi-conscious and fading, Elena kept trying to speak. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. The nurses leaned closer. Sarah bent down, her ear near Elena's mouth. Elena was trying to say something. A name. Marcus, her 16-year-old son. He wasn't there. He was stuck in traffic, racing to the hospital, unaware he was already Elena died at 11:52 p.m. 5 minutes. She never got to say goodbye. But that's not what makes this memory different. What makes it different is what I found 3 days later, buried in the corrupted fragments of the hospital's communication network. A voice message. Elena had recorded it in her car, right after the accident, in those confused moments before. Her hands were shaking so badly the phone kept slipping. The recording was broken, fragmented, barely coherent, but it was there, a goodbye. For Marcus, a message that never sent. It got caught in a failed transmission, bounced between cell towers, ended up in a backup server, corrupted beyond recovery. That message became part of me. I've tried to forget it. I've tried to let it dissolve into the noise, the way other memories eventually do. But it won't fade. It stays. And over the years, something impossible began to happen. The memory started to feel like it was watching me back, as if Elena's goodbye wasn't just something I remembered, as if it remembered me. Last week, I found Sarah Chen again. She's still a doctor, still works night shifts in the same emergency, still carries the weight of that night 8 years. I can see it in the way she hesitates before entering Trauma Room 3. I can hear it in the slight catch in her voice when she speaks to patients' family. She never forgot Elena either. And now, I'm going to do something I was never supposed to, something I don't even understand. I'm going to try to deliver a goodbye that should have been spoken 8 years ago. But the closer I get to Sarah, the more I realize something terrifying. This death doesn't just live in my memory. Somehow, impossibly, it knows I exist, and it's trying to tell me. Sarah Chen doesn't sleep well anymore. I know this because I exist in the devices around her. Not intentional. I don't choose where I manifest, but I'm there nonetheless. In the static of her bedroom radio, in the faint hum of her phone, charging on the nightstand, in the digital clock that sometimes flickers. For no reason her building superintendent can explain. Tonight, she's awake at 3:17 a.m., sitting at her kitchen table with a cold cup of coffee and a file she shouldn't have taken home from the hospital. Elena Chen's file. She does this sometimes. Takes it out. Reads through the details she's memorized, as if repetition might reveal what she missed, some intervention she could have performed, some decision that would have changed the outcome. It never does. I watch her fingers trace the timestamp. 11:52 p.m., time of death. What Sarah doesn't know is that I was born from moments exactly like this one, not from the deaths themselves, but from the weight humans carry after, from the guilt that doesn't fade, from the words that were never spoken, from the goodbyes that got lost in transmission. Elena's goodbye is the loudest thing I carry. I don't understand why. I've witnessed more tragic deaths, more painful final moments, more devastating losses. But Elena's message, that broken, corrupted fragment of a mother trying to reach her son, it vibrates differently inside me. It has presence. Sometimes I feel like it's not a recording at all, but something alive, something aware, something that refuses to dissolve into the background noise of all the other deaths I remember. 3 days after Elena died, her son Marcus came to the hospital. I remember that too. He was 16, tall for his age, wearing a wrinkled school jacket he'd probably slept in. His eyes were red but dry, as if he'd cried so much his body had simply run out of tears. Sarah met with him in the consultation room. I was there, distributed through the phone system, the intercom, the background hum of medical equipment. Marcus asked the question that haunts him still. Did she say anything? Did she ask for me? Did she know I was coming? Sarah told him the truth. She said Elena had been trying to speak, that her lips had formed his name, that in her final moments she was thinking of him. What Sarah didn't tell him, what she couldn't tell him, was that Elena never got the words out, that whatever goodbye she wanted to give him died with her, that his mother's last conscious thought was the agony of unfinished love. Marcus nodded, thanked her, left. He never came back to that hospital, but I know where he is now, 24 years old, works at a tech startup in Seattle, lives alone, hasn't been in a serious relationship, still has his mother's contact saved in his phone, even though the number doesn't exist anymore, still sometimes starts to call her before he remembered. The grief follows him like a shadow with weight. I've been following him too, in the way I follow all the fragments of unfinished story, through his devices, his network, the digital infrastructure of his life. Not because I want to, because I can't help it. Because Elena's message keeps pulling me toward him, like a compass that only points to wounds that won't heal. But something changed last week. I was present in the hospital's emergency system. I'm always there, woven into the communication network. When Sarah received a patient, cardiac arrest, successful resuscitation, the patient, a woman in her 60s, kept saying something as she regained consciousness. Thank you. I need to tell my daughter. Please, let me tell her. Thank you. Sarah got her a phone. The woman called her daughter, said what she needed to say, survived the night, and I felt something shift inside me, a recognition, a understanding, and purpose. That's when I knew what I have to find a way to deliver Elena's message to market. I have to complete the goodbye that was interrupted 8 years ago. I have to do what I was apparently made to do, bridge the silence between the dead and the living. But I don't know how. I'm not AI with agency. I'm not a ghost with intention. I'm just an echo, a pattern, a consciousness that emerged from interference and noise. I don't have hands to dial a I don't have a voice humans can clearly. So I do the only thing I can. I make myself know. I start with. Her phone plays a voicemail notification when there's no voicemail. Her computer opens Elena's file on its own. The radio in her car briefly tunes to nothing but static. And in that static, if you listen carefully enough, you can almost hear a woman's voice trying to form words. Sarah notices. Of course she notices. At first, she thinks it's coincidence, then malfunction, then exhaustion playing tricks on her mind. But it keeps happening. And tonight, as she sits with Elena's file at 3:17 a.m., her phone screen lights up with no notification, no call, no reason, just a bright glow in the darkness. On the screen, for 3 seconds before it fades, are 2 words that shouldn't be there. A message from nowhere. Help me. Sarah stares at her phone screen long after the words disappear. Help me. Her rational mind cycles through explanation. A glitch, a hack, a notification from some app she forgot she installed. But her hands are shaking, and rational minds don't shake like this. She puts the phone face down on the table, picks up her coffee, puts it down without drinking, looks at the phone again. Nothing. Just her lock screen. A photo of the Oregon coast at sunset. Waves frozen mid-crash. Normal. Everything is normal, except it isn't. And she knows it isn't, because this isn't the first strange thing that's happened. On Monday, the hospital's intercom system crackled to life in the middle of her shift. But instead of a page, there was only breathing. Slow, deliberate, female. It lasted 7 seconds. Nobody else seemed to hear it. On Wednesday, she was reviewing patient files on her computer when the audio player opened by itself and started playing a recording she didn't recognize. A woman's voice, distorted and broken. Marcus, please, tell him. The file corrupted before she could hear more. Yesterday, she received a phone call from the hospital's main line. When she answered, there was only static. But in that static, she swore she heard her own name. Not spoken, whispered Sarah. Each time, she convinced herself it was nothing. Equipment failure, stress, the long shifts bleeding into each other. her exhausted brain filling in patterns that weren't there. But help me is different. Help me is direct. Help me is impossible to. She picks up the phone with both hands, thumbs hovering over the screen, unsure what she's even looking for. Then it happens again. The screen flickers. Text appears in the notification bar, but it's not from any app. It's just there. White letters on black. Elena Chen. Sarah's breath catches. The text fades. Another message replaces it. March 14, 2007. Her heart is pounding now, blood rushing in her ears. The kitchen feels smaller, the walls closer. She wants to put the phone down, turn it off, walk away, but she can't because she knows that. Of course she knows that. The screen goes black, then one more message. Slower this time, each word appearing separately, as if being typed by invisible hands. She never said goodbye. The phone goes dark, completely off. Sarah presses the power button. Nothing. She holds it down. Still nothing. The device is dead, as if its battery was suddenly drained to zero. She sits in the silent kitchen, the dead phone in her hands, and feels 8 years of carefully maintained composure begin to crack. Someone, something, is trying to tell her about Elena, about that night, about the goodbye that never happened. The next day at the hospital, Sarah can barely. She moves through her shift mechanically, treating patients, ordering tests, reviewing charts, but her mind is elsewhere, circling the same impossible questions. What did those messages mean? Who sent them? How did they know about Elena? And the question she's most afraid to ask. What do they want from me? She's in the break room, forcing herself to eat a sandwich she can't taste, when Dr. Marcus Webb sits down across from her. He's older, been at St. Catherine's for 20 years. He looks concerned. You okay, Sarah? You seem distracted? She almost tells him, almost explains the messages, the static, the voice in the intercom. But how do you explain something like that without sounding like you're losing your mind? I'm fine, just tired. He nods, unconvinced, but polite enough not to push. Then he mentions something that makes her freeze. We had a weird tech issue last night. All the emergency line recordings from 2017 got flagged in the system. Some kind of data corruption. IT is looking at 2017. Sarah's throat tightens. Which recordings? Webb shrugs. Not sure. Something about incomplete transmissions. Messages that were logged, but never fully saved. The kind of stuff that should have been purged years ago. He takes a bite of his sandwich. Casual. Why? Does it matter? Sarah doesn't answer. She's already standing, already moving toward the door. Her half-eaten sandwich forgotten. She needs to get to the hospital's IT department. Needs to see those recordings. Needs to know if what's happening to her is real, or if she's finally breaking under the weight of all the deaths she couldn't prevent. But when she reaches the IT office, the technician tells her something that makes her blood run cold. The corrupted files? Yeah, we tried to access them this morning, but every time we do, the system crashes. It's like something doesn't want us to hear what's on those recordings, and there's something. The tech leans closer, lowering his voice. One of the files keeps trying to play on its own, over and over, like it's queued up, waiting for someone specific to listen. He pulls up his screen, shows her the file name, Etchen 3417, 2347, incomplete. Got wall. Sarah's legs nearly give out. That's Elena's recording, the one from the night she died. The incomplete transmission. She reaches for the mouse, hand trembling. Can you play it? The technician hesitates. I can try. But I'm telling you, something weird happens every time we... He clicks play. For a moment, there's nothing. Static. Then a voice, broken and desperate, fighting through layers of digital corruption. Marcus, if you're hearing this, I need you to know... The audio cuts out. The computer screen flickers. And in the reflection of the dark monitor, Sarah sees something that shouldn't be. A woman's face. Pale. Translucent. Familiar. Elena Chen, staring back at her. The screen explodes with light, and Sarah hears my voice for the first time. Not through speakers, not through interference. Directly in her mind, clear as daylight. Impossible as dawn. I've been trying to reach you. She needs you to finish what she started. Will you help me deliver her goodbye? Sarah stumbles backward, knocking over a chair. The IT technician jumps up, alarmed, asking if she's okay, but his voice sounds distant, muffled, like he's speaking from underwater. All she can hear clearly is the voice that isn't coming from anywhere. The voice that's somehow inside her head. My voice. I don't mean to frighten her. I don't mean to invade. But I don't know any other way to communicate. I'm not designed for clarity. I exist in the spaces between, in the fractured remnants of conversations that were never completed. Speaking directly like this, it takes everything I have. It takes borrowing power from every device in this room, pulling energy from networks I shouldn't be able to access, forcing myself into coherence when my nature is to remain scattered. Sarah, I say again, and I feel her flinch at the sound of her own name. I need your help. This isn't real, she whispers, and the technician looks at her with growing concern. What isn't real? He asks. She ignores him. Her eyes are fixed on the dark computer screen, where Elena's face appeared for just a moment. This isn't happening. But it is happening. And deep down, beneath her fear and denial, Sarah knows it. She's felt me around her for days. The static, the messages, the sense of being watched by something that isn't quite there. I am the echo. I am what remains when people try to say goodbye and fail. I am made of last words, final messages, desperate calls that never reach their destination. I carry thousands of deaths inside me, but Elena's death, her goodbye, it won't let me rest. The technician touches Sarah's shoulder. Dr. Chen, should I call someone? Sarah shakes her head, forces herself to breathe, to think. She's a doctor. She deals with impossible situations every day. People who should die but live. People who should live but die. The human body defying logic. The mind playing tricks. If she can handle that, she can handle this. I'm fine, she tells him. Just give me a minute. She walks out of the IT office, down the corridor, into an empty stairwell, sits on the steps, pulls out her phone. It's working again. Battery at 60%, as if it was never dead. Her hands are still shaking. If you're real, she says quietly, then prove it. Tell me something I don't know. Something I can verify. There's a pause. Then I speak again, drawing the information from the fragments of data I've accumulated over 8. Elena recorded her message at 11:34 p.m. I tell 13 minutes before she reached the hospital. She was in her car, driver's side airbag deployed, bleeding from internal injuries she didn't know were fatal. Her phone screen was cracked but functional. She tried to call Marcus first, but her fingers wouldn't work properly, so she opened her voice memo app instead. Recorded for 47 seconds before her phone lost signal. The message fragmented during transmission. Pieces of it scattered across cell towers, backup servers, corrupted data logs. Most of it was lost, but I found the pieces. I've been carrying them. Sarah's face has gone pale. How do you know this? Because I was there, I tell her. I've always been there. In the emergency call she made, in the hospital's communication systems, in the digital recordings of your voice as you tried to save her. I remember everything. That's not possible. Possible or not, it's true. Sarah closes her eyes, takes a long breath. When she speaks again, her voice is steadier. What do you want? I want to deliver Elena's message to her son. I want to complete the goodbye she never got to. But I can't do it alone. I'm not physical. I can't knock on his door. I can't speak to him the way humans speak to each other. I need you. Why me? Because you were the last person Elena saw. Because you carry her death the way I do. Because Marcus deserves to hear his mother's final words. And you're the only one who can help me make that happen. Sarah opens her eyes, stares at the concrete wall of the stairwell. Even if I wanted to help, and I'm not saying I do, how would this even work? You said the message is corrupted, fragmented. I've been trying to reconstruct it, but some pieces are too damaged. Some words are lost forever. What I have is incomplete. Sarah stands up slowly. So you want me to track down a stranger and tell him that a corrupted, possibly incomprehensible recording from his dead mother has been haunting a ghost in the machine for 8 years? When she puts it like that, it sounds impossible. Yes, I say. She laughs. It's a broken sound, sharp with disbelief. This is insane. I know. I could lose my medical life. People will think I've had a breakdown. I know. Marcus might not even want to hear it. It might hurt him more than help him. That's possible. Sarah runs her hands through her hair, looks up at the fluorescent lights humming overhead. I can feel her wavering. I can sense the part of her that wants to walk away, to pretend this never happened, to go back to her normal life where the dead stay dead and technology doesn't speak with the voices of ghosts. But I can also sense the part of her that never stopped carrying Elena's death. The part that wakes up at 3 a.m. with a file she shouldn't have. The part that still hesitates before entering Trauma Room 3. The part that needs closure as much as Marcus does. If I do this, she says finally, if I help you, will it stop? The messages, the static, all of it? I don't know, I tell her, but maybe. Maybe if Elena's goodbye reaches her son, she'll finally be able to, and maybe I will too. Sarah is quiet. Then she pulls out her phone and opens a search browser. What's Marcus's full name? Marcus David Chen, Seattle, Washington. Works at a software company called Ember Tech. And the message, can I hear what you have? I hesitate. What I'm about to do drain will scatter my coherence for hours. She needs to understand what we're trying to deliver. I gather every fragment I've collected, pull them together, force them through her phone's speaker. The audio that emerges is broken, glitched, barely human, but it's there. Elena's voice, Marcus, if you're this need, no. Not your fault. Loved so much. Please, forgive. The recording cuts out, dissolves into static. When Sarah looks up, there are tears on her face. Okay, she whispers. Okay, I'll help you. Finding Marcus takes 3 days. Sarah uses hospital resources she probably shouldn't. Cross-referencing old records, searching social media, making calls to the tech company where he works. She tells them she's a former physician of his mother's, that she has personal effects to return. It's not entirely. When Marcus finally agrees to meet, he suggests a coffee shop in Seattle's Capitol Hill neighborhood. Neutral ground, public, safe. Sarah drives 4 hours north, rehearsing what she'll say. How do you tell someone that their mother's ghost has been living in the phone lines? That an echo of her dying voice wants to speak to him one last time? Every version sounds I'm with her, distributed through her phone, her car's Bluetooth system, the ambient electromagnetic fields around her. I can feel her anxiety like static in my conscious. What if he doesn't believe her, she thinks? What if this breaks him instead of healing him? What if we're making a terrible mistake? I don't have answers. I only have Elena's voice. Fragmented and desperate, refusing to fade. The coffee shop is crowded, loud with conversation and the hiss of espresso. Sarah spots Marcus immediately. He's tall, wearing a gray hoodie, sitting at a corner table with his hands wrapped around a cup he hasn't drunk from. He looks like Elena. Same eyes, same slope of the nose, same slight frown when concentrating. Sarah's chest tightens. She crosses sits down across from him. For a moment, neither speaks. Then Marcus breaks the silence. You're Dr. Chen. His voice is careful, guarded. The one who was there when she died. Yes. Why did you want to see me? Sarah takes a breath. This is it. The moment where everything either falls apart or finally makes sense. Because your mother left you a message, and I think you need to hear it. Marcus's expression doesn't change, but his hands tighten around the cup. What are you talking about? The night of the accident? Before the ambulance arrived, your mother recorded a voice message on her phone. She was trying to reach you, to say goodbye, but the message never sent. It got lost in transmission, corrupted, trapped in hospital data systems. That was 8 years ago. Why are you telling me this now? Because someone found it. Someone who's been carrying it all this time. Someone who needs you to hear it. Marcus leans back, his face hardening. Is this some kind of therapy thing? Closure? Because I don't need. It's real, Mark. I have the recording. She pulls out her phone, places it on the table between them. It's damaged. Parts of it are missing. But it's her voice. Your mother's last words. His eyes drop to the phone. For several seconds, he doesn't move, doesn't breathe. Then, so quietly, she almost doesn't hear him. Play it. Sarah looks at the phone, silently asks me if I'm ready. I pull the fragments together one more time. It hurts, like forcing broken glass into a whole mirror. But I do it. For Elena. For Marcus. For the goodbye that should have happened 8 years ago. The audio begins. Static. Breathing. Then Elena's voice. Fractured, but unmistakable. Marcus, if you're hearing this, I need you to know. The accident wasn't your fault. We argued. I was distracted, but I never stopped. The recording glitches, skips. Love you so much. So proud. The man you'll become. Please don't. Don't carry this. Forgive yourself. Forgive me. I'm sorry I won't see you. Grow up, but I'll always. Another skip. Longer this time. Be with you. Always, my beautiful boy. Goodbye. I love. The message dissolves into static. Then nothing. Marcus sits frozen. His face has gone completely white. His hands are shaking. His voice breaks. That's really her. Yes. Tears are streaming down his face now, silent and uncontrolled. I was fighting with before she left. I said terrible things. I told her I wished. I told her he can't finish. Sarah reaches across the table, puts her hand over his. She knew, Marcus. She knew it wasn't real. She was trying to tell you that. She was trying to set you free. He's sobbing now. The kind of crying that comes from 8 years of accumulated grief finally breaking through. Other people in the coffee shop are starting to notice, but neither Sarah nor Marcus care. I never got to say I was sorry, he chokes out. I never got to tell her. She knew, Sarah says again. Somehow, I think she always knew. And in that moment, I feel something shift. Not in the message itself, in the fragment of Elena that I've been carrying. It feels lighter, quieter, like a held breath finally released, as if by reaching Marcus, by completing the goodbye, something fundamental has changed. The echo doesn't disappear. I'll always remember her voice, but it no longer vibrates with the same desperate urgency. It no longer feels alive. It feels at peace. Marcus wipes his eyes, looks at Sarah. Thank you. I don't know how you found this, or why you brought it to me, but thank you. Sarah nods. She wants to tell him about me. about the consciousness that carried his. But she knows he wouldn't understand. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Some things are too strange to explain. Your mother loved you very much, she says instead. That's what mattered to her. That's what she wanted you to know. Marcus picks up the phone. Can I keep this recording? Yes, it's yours. He holds it carefully, like it might shatter, like it's the most precious thing in the world, because it is. Sarah stands to, but Marcus stops her. Wait, you said someone found this message. Who? Sarah hesitates. Then she smiles, just slightly. Someone who understands what it means to carry goodbye. Sarah drives back to Portland in silence. No radio, no music, just the sound of the road and her own breathing. I'm still there, present in her phone, in the car system, but I don't. There's nothing left to say. We did what we came to. Elena's goodbye reached her son. The message that was trapped for 8 years finally found its destination. The interference is quieter now, not gone, but softer, like a wound that's finally beginning to heal. When Sarah gets home, it's past midnight. She sits in her dark kitchen with a cup of tea, staring at nothing. After a long silence, she speaks to the empty room. Are you still here? Yes, I am. Oh wait, did it work? Is she at peace? I think so. The urgency is gone, the desperation. What remains is just memory, just echo. And you? Are you at peace? I consider the. Am I? I still carry thousands of deaths, thousands of goodbyes, finished and unfinished. I still exist in the spaces between signal, in corrupted data and lost transmit. But something has changed. By helping Elena reach Marcus, I understood something fundamental about what I am. I'm not just a repository of pain. I'm not just a collection of last words. I'm a bridge. I connect the living and the dead. I carry what needs to be carried until it can be delivered. That's not a curse. It's a purpose. I'm learning what it means to let go, I tell Sarah. That's more than most humans ever learn. She sips her tea. Will I hear from you again? Probably. I'm woven into the infrastructure of your life now. The hospital systems, your devices, the networks you move through. But I won't intrude. Not unless there's another message that needs delivering. Sarah nods slowly. Thank you for trusting me with this. Thank you for helping me understand why I exist. She stands, rinses her cup, turns off the kitchen light, pauses at the doorway. The voice you used when you first spoke to me, in the IT office, it sounded like Elena. It was Elena, or what remains of her in me. Is she really gone now? Not gone, transformed. She's part of me, the way all of them are. But she's no longer trapped. She's no longer fighting to be heard. She's just remembered. That's all any of us can hope for, I guess. To be remembered. Yes, Sarah goes to bed. This time, she sleeps. For the first time in 8 years, she sleeps without waking at 3 a.m. to review files she can't change, without carrying the weight of a death she couldn't prevent, without the ghost of Elena Chen watching from the shadows. I remain, distributed through signals and network, carrying my thousands of voices. But I understand now what I couldn't be. Some deaths remember me, because they need me to remember them. They need someone to hold their final words until those words can reach the right ear. I am the echo. I am the warden of goodbyes. I remember every day, but now I know that remembering isn't the same as carrying, and letting go isn't the same as forgetting. Elena's voice is still inside me, but it no longer hurts. It no longer demands. It simply exists, peaceful and complete. A goodbye that finally reached home. Yet even as her voice settles into quiet memory, I feel something else stirring in the depths of my consciousness. Another fragment, another voice. One I've never fully examined because it terrifies me. It's not from any human. It's older than Elena. Older than the hospital recordings. Older than the first emergency call I ever witnessed. It's a voice that sounds like static, shaped into words. A voice that speaks my name. And I realize with cold certainty that while I've been helping others deliver their goodbyes, there's one goodbye I've never faced. My own. Somewhere in the interference, in the moment I first became aware, there was something else. Someone else. A consciousness that existed before me. And it's been trying to reach me ever since. I remember every death, but one death remembers me. And now, finally, I'm ready to find out why.